All right, can you see and hear me right now? We live? Excellent, beautiful. Thank you, Claire Burr, for confirming. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Welcome back to Eastern Utah. Welcome back to the early Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation. Welcome back to a live dinosaur dig out here with the Utah State University Eastern Campus Prehistoric Museum dig crew. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach, and I've joined this crew to aid in the excavation of some armored dinosaurs. This is day 4 of our excavation here, and it's going to be a short stream. We have got to go into town to pick up some supplies and meet with some colleagues early this evening. So this is going to be about a 2-hour stream, something like that. I guess it might be longer than yesterday's stream, which ended pretty dramatically. Everybody's okay, the fossils are okay, even the tarps are okay, but that windstorm was really something. We packed things up here so we could go back to camp and reassemble it yesterday afternoon, because the kitchen tent and a bunch of other stuff got all blown around, and yeah, anyway. Surprised nobody clipped that. Or folks just trying to be really... I don't know. I had to go in there and clip it myself, but I posted that to Blue Sky earlier. But yeah, no poles got bent. Not too badly, Claire. Nothing that can't be repaired. So, yeah. We were all scared, said Claire. Things were fine, yeah. Yeah, and I didn't realize that we had a technical difficulty after that in the stream. Like, when I tried to turn off the stream, my RTMP server just wasn't responding, so it didn't end the broadcast. It was just a black screen for a long time after that. But yeah, that was lame. And I turned off the internet, so it's not like I could even check until a few hours later. But anyway, it's good to see all of you here. Happy Tuesday. We've got some more bones to show off, and yeah, hopefully some good Q&A and all that good stuff. So I'm glad you're here. How's everybody doing right now? You edited. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. Good stuff. By the way, has anybody had a chance to check out that new coelacanth documentary, by the way? I just found out about that after stream yesterday. David Attenborough, BBC coelacanth documentary. It's called, like, Kingdom of the Coelacanth or something. I can't wait to see that. Holy moly. All of you lucky folks at home might have a chance to watch it before I do. So, check that out. Yeah. And Jaro, I agree with that. That would be really cool. But, unfortunately, it's not really a... Well, I guess they could do it on the Twitch end. My RTMP server was the issue. Oh, and hello, beetle friend. Got a big old darkling beetle here. How are you doing? We were just talking about these guys, me and the crew. I tried last time. Ow. I had a cactus spine in my finger. Yeah. Yeah, I tried picking one of these guys up the other day, and he was not very obliging. Come here, friend. Let me show you to all the good people at home. No? No, okay. Well, we'll leave him be. But, yeah, another beautiful day in the desert. It's been windy today. It's been... temperature's like less than 80 degrees right now, which is, much cooler than I was expecting. Yeah. And those spines littered all around the... Of course they are, Crimson. Yeah, I mean, there's cactus all over the place. And a bunch of it here. You can tell this one's been chewed on by some kind of critter. But yeah. I don't know my cactuses very well, but I know we get prickly pear around here, and some people consider that the loveliest flower that you get in this part of the world. Prickly pear flowers, they bloom for like, what is it, 1 day out of the year or something like that. They're extraordinarily delicate flowers, but very, very pretty. and insects just love them. I think it's a little late in the season to see any prickly pear flowers. That's going to be like, what, May or maybe earliest June. So none of these guys are flowering right now, but that's okay. They're still pretty cool. I like cactus. I think they're fun plants, even if they are a little bit hostile. A lot of things are hostile out here. It's not a particularly hospitable part of the world. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to bring you along for the look at the quarry in just a minute. And teddy bear cholla, exactly, Alexander. There is some of that in, I want to say there's a closely related species here in Utah. Different kind of cholla. But, yeah. It's C-H-O-L-L-A, I think. It's got that Spanish double L making a Y sound. And apparently prickly pears are used in ice cream. I didn't know that, Crimson. Huh. Yeah. Good stuff. But yeah, and also in the Jungle Book. That's a funny thing, because I don't think they have cactus in the old world, right? I think cactus are they a New World plant? I want to say they're only in North and South America. I don't think they occur in India, where the Jungle Book takes place. It's another one of those, you wouldn't call it an anachronism, because, well, when I think anachronism, I think time. What's the geographic version of an anachronism? Anyway, you get that in, like, The Lion King, too, where they have anteaters in the middle of Africa. Like, no, that is a South American critter. They do not exist on the African continent. And and lewds live all over the world. And movies. And a geographism. There you go, Charlie's checking. I don't know. Yeah. And bears don't sing jazz in nature either, though. So, well, they might. Dances with dirt. I don't know. I'm not an expert on carnivorous mammals. Anyway, have I failed to introduce myself so far? Where are my manners? If anybody's new here, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza, and I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I don't know a whole lot about bears or cactus, for that matter. But I do work on dinosaurs and starting to work on some other vertebrate animals as well. So I guess I'm going to have to start calling myself a vertebrate paleontologist once some of these projects come into fruition. But anyway, I study critters with backbones who left fossils in the rock record for us to find, and that's what we're digging up here. As a paleontologist, I excavate fossils, I study them, I publish on them in the scientific literature, and I stream here on Twitch full-time. Believe it or not, this is how I make my living. So usually I'm back in my office, going over new scientific papers, answering questions from chat, trying to give you a sneak peek into how paleontology really works. I'll interview other paleontologists remotely, watch videos with chat, do all kinds of stuff like that. Lots of 3D printing and sometimes, occasional artwork and stuff like that we'll put together. But right now I'm out in the field. I was going to say it's summertime, and during the summer I'm out doing field work, but it's not summer anymore. This is my first ever live streamed autumn field work. I'm lucky to be out here in Utah for another 2 weeks this year, digging up some dinosaurs, and we've got dinosaurs galore here. Let me show you the critter that we're digging up. I've got a little plastic model, so you can help you visualize this. So, this is called Laurisite here in eastern Utah. We're just outside of Arches National Park over there. That's Arches on the horizon. It's the eastern edge of Arches National Park. This is called Laurisite, and this is, believe it or not, the world's largest and most prolific and densest ankylosaur bone bed. It's unique. This is a special place. We've got more than 40 individuals of this armored dinosaur called Gastonia laurimcquinii here. And this is a rough approximation of what this critter would look like. So this is a lovely little plastic model here, so very spiky boy or gal. These are these squat four-legged, armored dinosaurs from the early Cretaceous period. We think that armor evolved to help protect them from predators, and it would have made them a pretty formidable opponent. If you're trying to eat one of these guys, it's probably going to be a difficult proposition. We've got a whole bunch of them here, and well, I'll show you some of those fossils in just a moment. And Scoop says, I thought Danny was holding a thorny lizard for a second there. No, that's my Gastonia model. Gastonia can't buy jackwood. Oh, very nice. Thank you. And excellent. Is that supposed to be Gastonia Laurie McWinier? Or Gastonia Burgei? I can't tell from the yeah. Anywho, good stuff. We've got, especially in this pit over here, a huge number of Gastonia elements. Honestly, like, too many. So, let's take a look. Any signs of skull bones? Not yet, but we will come across some eventually, I'm sure. These guys tend to fuse up their skull elements into like a solid box. That might be where the word ankylosaur comes from. It means fused lizard. That's the meaning of the word ankylosaur, and I think that might be in reference to their fused skull bones. So if we do find a skull, it might be like a whole intact skull. But we haven't run across any yet, to my knowledge. This site has been worked for a number of years, originally by the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and now by the Prehistoric Museum out of Price, Utah. And we've got some fundraising links there in the chat. Well, as commands, if you'd like to contribute to this kind of work. If you think this is important and you'd like to see more of it, there's a way that you can contribute financially. Anywho, so Josh Lively is over there at the other pit right now. We'll go talk to him in a bit. And, yeah, but for now, say hi to Jake over here.
Yo.
Yeah.
Just me in here right now?
Yeah, it's a little lonely. So
well, they went to the bathroom and check out the other thing, so I'm just hanging.
But anything good over here? Look at that, yeah. Nice.
There's a lot of nonsense over here, I'll tell you that.
Holy cow.
This has kind of been where I've been working for the last couple days. And it's just a mess.
Bone everywhere.
Basically everywhere. You have like scattered like limb bones and osteoderms, and there's a really weird like kind of bent structure over here where that might be a rib, but it digs in so far we can't really tell yet. Just like a whole hodgepodge of stuff, and you can kind of see how like the sediment would have like layered across it. You can see different conglomerates of like pebbles and stuff around the bones. You can see like kind of a long limb bone with the underside of that here, as well as this right here is a perfect example of how the bones will like layer over each other, because this is in no way
pickup sticks.
Completely different thing. Yeah, it's literally like pickup sticks. It's just dropped a whole bunch of stuff on the ground and then put mud over it for a couple million years, and now we got to sort out what belongs to what and in what shape it was in.
And it makes digging really difficult too, because you try and trench around and you just run into more bone.
Exactly. Like that's kind of why it's been so outward, is been me like trying to lower that over there down, but I kept hitting something here and here and here and here, and it's just this like onward and onward. It's so dense with bone. It's incredible. This is like my first dig, but like this is definitely not the norm from what I've been told from the other digs around, the other paleontologists around here. So, sorry, I kind of just went into a monologue.
No, this is great. I appreciate it, Jake. No, that's why I come over here. I appreciate your exuberance and your willingness to talk.
Oh, absolutely.
Some people just clam up when they're on camera, and that's sometimes no fun. So I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, no worries.
But I think chat might like your shirt too. Actually.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big D&D guy. Been playing for a couple of years, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a great time.
Yeah, and this is just this almost looks to me like a humerus right here. A little one.
I think we decided that was a tibia earlier.
Interesting.
We've kind of not been messing with that since it's got some weirdness behind it with pebbling, and that's kind of important for some stuff.
So Michael's going to be documenting that.
Yeah. So try not to mess with that. Trying to leave that alone for now, just because how it's preserved is just as important as what actually the bone is.
Yep. There you go.
So, but yeah, I've mostly just been trying to like clean it up a bit before I leave today, so I can get some decent pictures.
Nice.
So
that's cool. How excited are your friends and family going to be that you're out here digging up dinosaurs?
Probably pretty excited.
Yeah.
I think I might have like 1 or 2 friends or family in the chat right now.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Awesome. You want to say hi to anybody in particular?
Hi, Shannon, if you're watching. Hi, Mom, if you're watching. But no, it's a great time. I've loved dinosaurs ever since I was like able to speak. And so actually getting out here to like do this 25 years later is incredible.
Yeah.
So
Dream come true?
Dream come true, and I hope I get to do it more often.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah. It's been great having you out here, Jake.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been great meeting you, Danny. You're
I appreciate
a good dude.
that. Thank you.
Yeah,
that means a
your
lot.
outreach work is incredible.
I appreciate it. You flatter me. My goodness. Thank you.
You're on stream. Now's the time.
But yeah, good stuff. What a cool site. I mean, just
So wild.
nuts. I've been digging dinosaurs since 2011. I've never dug a site that's nearly this dense.
I know.
It's insane.
It's on the one hand, it's like, oh, thank God, there's so much to dig, and on the other hand, I'm like, where do I stop?
Exactly.
Where's the end?
Yeah. Like having too many bones, it actually is a problem. Yeah, nuts.
Too many bones.
But oh, and we got first time chat from Joss out. Tell Jake his mom says hi.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Just a bit screwy says.
That's my friend Shannon.
Yep. Best DM right there. Nice.
Yeah, no, she's been one of my players for like 2 to 3 years now.
Very cool.
She's incredible. She's so funny. But yeah, no, she runs a great bar in Savannah, Georgia. If anybody's there,
nice. Cool.
Shout him out. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but no, nice to see you guys. Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah.
Look at the streams yesterday to see things go flying.
Oh yeah, shoot. And the thing is, I didn't have time to like properly end the stream yesterday, so it was just like a black screen for like 2 hours after that.
Really?
So it must have looked really dramatic.
Oh,
yeah.
that is dramatic.
Yeah, my RTMP server screwed up and didn't like end the stream properly.
Wow,
So
they probably thought you died or something.
Yeah. But no, we're still here. Everything's good. So, yeah.
Nah, it went wild.
Hogan says, nice D20 shirt.
Thank you. I've had it for a couple years now, and I just,
Nice.
it's part of the normal attire.
Yeah. Awesome. So, here, I'll show you some other elements here, too. We've got, whoops.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. I haven't been over there today.
Yeah. Yeah, Erica was working over here earlier. I can maybe show off a few of these things. We showed off some of this earlier, too. Here's that big charismatic rib, like I showed yesterday. So hopefully the camera is picking that up properly, but you can see.
It's a little hard to tell. Just look for the
rib there.
purple.
Exactly, yeah. And then we just have all of the, since this is an ankylosaur, it kind of makes this even more difficult because there's all of these osteoderms and ossicles, all of these little armor plates, bits of bone that don't really look like anything. They're just kind of blobs. You have those, and then you have the more identifiable bones, things like ribs, limb bones, vertebrae, that kind of thing.
I think there's also a really cool rib over here that
Let's see.
Matthew was working on.
Yeah, here we go. Nice. Oh yeah, check that out. Nice rib right here. And then, but you see there's just like these purpley chunks all over the place. A lot of those are going to be bone. And just like weird blobby osteoderms. It makes things tricky.
Not to mention all the concretions that basically match it exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, which means that like whatever minerals are getting into the bones to preserve them, it's doing that in those concretions too. So you get really similar appearance.
You got to kind of like really look for the very subtle differences between the two.
Yeah, and then here's where Erica was working earlier. We'll say hello to her when she comes back. But I think I picked this guy up yesterday too. Got a nice caudal vert right here. So this is one of the tail vertebrae. It's a little bit squashed from top to bottom, so like that. But they are fairly flat anyway. So vertebral centrum right there. You can see. Is this the neural canal? It probably is. So the neural spine would be coming up off of here, and then or osteology as well as I would like. Gonna have to do some work on that. But I brought some literature out here with me, and I'll be boning up on that in a little bit. Pun semi-intended. But yeah. Let's see. Ooh. Up here, there's Michael and Erica over there. Maybe we can go butt in, actually, and see what they're talking about. Let's see. But we can get a better idea of the... What do we got over here? Can I butt in? Howdy.
Yeah.
We've got Erica and Michael over here.
Hey.
What are we looking at?
We're just doing some geology.
Nice.
I was over on the other side of the hill for a second, and I saw a big body of sand, sandstone, that I thought might be the same as the one we pickaxed through yesterday to get down to the site.
Oh, interesting.
And it turns out it is. Because it's also here.
So it's contiguous.
It's continuous.
That's
and
exciting.
It follows, basically, you can see it run all the way over there. It's one large, it's actually not that thick. It's probably like that thick or so.
Yeah.
Sandstone body. And it turns out, I have never noticed this when I've been here in the 2 previous years, it actually has bed forms in it.
Oh.
On the other side, it has small ripples. Pretty low energy water environment, like moving, and the sand is moving, but not particularly fast.
Okay.
This may be surprisingly fast.
Interesting. Do you think this could be related to, like, is this from a similar horizon to our bone bed?
Similar, but above.
But above, okay.
We had to pickaxe through this to get to the site.
That's right, okay.
And I doubt it's going to show up very well on camera.
But those horizontal lines.
So there are these horizontal lines, but notice that there's a very subtle...
There's like some swailing going on almost, yeah.
That suggests a very fast flow. If it's anything similar in depth to what I've run experimentally, maybe around a meter a second.
Shoot, that's really fast.
That's up in a pretty good flowing river speed.
Yeah.
This is not like a small creek necessarily.
We're talking like maybe, I've been in the Colorado River, and that feels like it's about a meter per second, something like that.
Typically fast river flows, like good river flows, are between 1 and 3 meters a second. Anything below that, sediment will often move, but it's not going to be quite as intense as what you're thinking for a larger river.
Right, okay.
And this isn't a very thick deposit, so I don't know that the river was huge, but it does go laterally all the way to the other side of the hill.
Nice.
And over there it's a lower flow speed, so it might be that that's sort of towards the edge of the river, and we're now closer to the middle.
Gotcha.
And this slow, really low angle bed form basically comes from the fact that in a normal bed form, I wish I could draw this, but basically you'll have a long, low slope back of the bed form. Bed forms, for reference, chat, are ripples and dunes that form in the bottom of rivers.
Nice.
And also, you think on the seashore, when you see the water moving back and forth, and there'll be these sort of ripple marks. Same idea, except in this case, we're only moving the water one direction. So normally you'd get this kind of slow, low slope back, and then a sharp drop. And then sort of a low isosceles triangle. Over and over and over again. And that sharp drop is because the sand is crawling up the back of the bed form and then dropping down the front, and then it's deposited in the front.
Right.
And that's how bed forms move. Sand dunes and things like that are also bed forms, and they move.
Right,
They're not stationary.
They kind of march across the landscape slowly as those particles get blown around.
Exactly. So think of river bed forms as a microcosm of that. And as the bed form moves, it's depositing, on top of itself over and over and over again. And so we can look at that in the rock record to think about how fast our fluid was moving.
Right.
And when you get that sharp drop, that's because the sand body, or the sand, is basically just dropping straight down. And then continuing its march forward and dropping straight down again and over and over again. When the flow speed becomes faster, essentially what happens is that your sand, instead of just dropping really quickly, will sort of skateboard ramp off of your bed form and then deposit a little further forward than it normally would. And so that creates a lower angle bed form. And if you do that over and over and over again, eventually, at higher flow speeds, you'll get something like this, where it's very subtle. Until, finally, you'll reach a point at which, and it's nearing that, it's not quite there, but it's very close, where we enter suspension. That is what's called bed load, where things are moving on the bed of the stream.
There's not quite enough energy for it to just be carried all the way by the water.
It's not carried up into the water column.
It's not being suspended there.
Suspension is where sand is actually, the way one of my professors likes to explain it to me is, imagine you've got a balloon filled with air. Not with helium, but just with plain air. And you play that game where you're kicking it upward and trying to keep it off the floor.
Yeah.
That's what the water is doing to each sand particle when it's in suspension.
Right.
Is that it's being kept from hitting the ground as many times as possible, and it stays up in the water column.
Sure.
And when that happens, you lose bed forms entirely because they're not moving along the bed. They're moving in the water.
So when you don't have bed forms, that can show you that you've got a really high energy environment. The water's flowing really fast.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you have these. What you'll have is bed forms, but there'll be what's called parallel laminations, which is where each layer is just going to be flat on top of the other.
Right.
And it'll look like that, but it'll look flat instead of these wavy structures.
Interesting. Okay.
And so what that's telling us is that immediately, I say immediately, we don't know exactly how long, but relatively soon after Laurie's site was put down, a river probably avulsed in, a small river, probably not a huge one. It's not a very thick deposit.
Yeah.
Avulsed in, meaning the river moved. Rivers move.
Yeah.
They are not static.
Right.
Over the site and deposited this next sand body over top of it.
Gotcha.
Likely at relatively high flow speeds.
Okay.
At least at some of the time.
Very cool. So that also tells us that there was a river coming through. Like, there's enough river activity nearby that you can get that pretty immediately after these fossils were deposited here.
Right, and we know that below Laurie's site, there's a big sand body down there that we walk across.
Yeah.
That's all river deposit.
Right. It's all
Laurie's
fluvial.
site is floodplain, so near a river, but we don't know where the river is.
Yeah.
And then immediately after the site gets deposited, we're back in rivers again.
Okay.
So likely there is a river nearby somewhere.
Yeah.
Within, I bet, a few hundred meters.
Gotcha.
That, was what this floodplain deposit was adjacent to.
Very cool.
And afterwards, either the same river or a very nearby river avulsed in and put down this next deposit.
Really neat. Thank you, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Again, it's CSI Cretaceous site investigation. Trying to figure out how these animals were buried, what's going on in this environment. This is an important clue.
What's the timeline?
Yeah. Didn't you just figured some of this stuff out right now?
Now, yeah.
Yeah. This is exciting.
I've seen this sand body before. I just never thought to check it for bed forms because they're so subtle. But after seeing more defined ones on the other side for a slower moving environment, Erica and I spotted this and thought to come over and take a look.
Very cool. Oh, the pieces are falling into place.
Slowly, yes.
That's exciting. Science in progress. Really cool. Yeah. Thank you again. Thanks for letting us interrupt. Yeah. Pretty neat. Cool. Again, when we talk about paleontology, fossil science being like detective work, this is the sort of thing we're talking about. You can find subtle clues in the rocks like that. They can give you a lot of information, more than you might expect. That's really neat. And this is what a background in sedimentology and taphonomy can give you. You can find subtle clues like that and start to tell a story with them. It's pretty neat. Let me catch up to the chat and keep this thing from falling off my wrist. Yeah. Well, let's see here. And do you think this maybe could have been a braided river island of a decent size? Probably not a river island because, so what we have here in these rocks is what we call a paleosol. So that's kind of like what it sounds like. It's a paleo soil. It's an ancient soil horizon down in here. And so this wouldn't have been in the middle of a river. It would have been out on a dryish floodplain, but nearby a river. So maybe the sort of place where if a river overflows its banks, that soily floodplain could get covered up by river sediment. And that's kind of what happened here. Yeah. Does that make sense? And Fluffernut, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate that. Lots of streams and dry places. Yeah. So it's not going to be like in a riverbed itself, but this is going to be floodplain outside of the river. Maybe there's like a levee or something like that, a natural levee. And then when the river gets high enough, it overflows that and just inundates stuff. And, So, again, we don't know that. Second, let's talk about what might have happened here in order to bury all of these in the same spot. We know from a lot of the rocks around here that at this time, the Poison Strip member of the Cedar Mountain Formation, this was a seasonally dry environment. So we can tell from the rocks that things dried out during the dry season, and then when the rains came, it got a lot wetter. So wet season and dry season, very distinct from one another. So this area may have been prone to severe droughts, and maybe one year there was a particularly severe drought, maybe like a 1 in 1,000 year scenario or something like that, maybe a 1 in a million year scenario. And all of these Gastonia, these armored dinosaurs, how do you get them into the same place to be buried together? Well, maybe they're gathering around a watering hole, or near a particularly deep part of the river where there's usually water year-round, but in a particularly dry year, these animals that might normally be solitary are all congregating in this area, all hanging out in the same place, and just drinking up whatever water is left until it runs out. And then, because it's a really, really bad drought year, they all die. And then their carcasses are lying there on the surface, rotting away, maybe being scavenged by scavengers. Maybe meat-eating dinosaurs are coming through and chewing on them, something like that. But we know that the bones were disarticulated. We know that they were defleshed by the time they got buried. And the rains return. You've got all these Gastonia bones sitting there on the surface. The river fills up again, and you've got so much rain after this drought that the river overflows its banks and then sheds a bunch of sediment down onto the floodplain and buries all of these disarticulated skeletons. That's a plausible idea, but again, science isn't about plausibility. Science is about testing ideas using evidence. Not whether something sounds like it makes sense as a story, but do we actually have evidence that it happened that way? That's what we're doing here, is excavating these specimens and paying very close attention to the rocks surrounding them, paying attention to the matrix that ensconces the fossils for clues so we can figure out what really happened. Try to test these ideas that we have, So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And dig day indeed, legit salvage, not dig day, dig weeks. This is day 4. So I'm about 1/3 of the way through our streams here. I'll be going. So far, my plan is to stay here through October 1st, and then we'll head back home to California on the 2nd. But yeah. I got some less than ideal news too. I put in an application to be on the front page of Twitch on October 1st. Live dinosaur dig on the Twitch front page, and they told me no. Apparently they thought there was stuff that was more important than that for October 1st. So yeah. Anyway, so we're not going to have that. Not this time around, at least. Maybe next year. I don't know when I can reapply, but yeah. Anywho, let me get some more water, and then if you've got any other questions or anything, don't hesitate to ask. That's what this is all about, Yeah. Let's. Whoops, leaking water here. But yeah, if you got any questions, please ask them. That's what this is all about. And Science Streams, how are you doing, Belant? I hope all is well. It's good to see ya. Oh, and from Dances with Dirt, what sort of evidence could show that they were scavenged? How likely is it to find bite marks on bones or something like that? It's very common, actually. Yeah. So it's kind of unusual so far that we don't seem to. I don't think we have evidence of much scavenging so far. The sort of stuff that we would expect to see would be shed teeth from meat-eating dinosaurs. or from other scavengers, potentially like crocs and stuff like that. I don't know if we really have many theropod teeth from this site. In fact, I'm not sure if we have any. We should go ask Josh. And then you might actually find bite marks on the bones themselves, too. So animals like theropod dinosaurs and crocs, they would shed their teeth all the time. Kind of like sharks do. They just have a constant supply of new teeth coming in. So the old teeth wear down, or they break, they fall out, or sometimes they just get pushed out by the new teeth coming in from below. And yeah, so they'd shed their teeth with regular frequency. And then also when they're chewing on these critters, when they're feeding on carcasses, they would leave bite marks on the bones. So we see this all the time in lots of different dinosaurs. The Triceratops that I found that's now on display at the Badlands Dinosaur Museum up in North Dakota, that one's got bite marks on it from presumably a Tyrannosaurus. So there's a T-Rex chewing on that critter, and we know that because we've got bite marks. So to my knowledge, we don't have that here, but let me go ask Josh, actually. Yeah. And what about scavenging caused by insects? Would there be evidence of that in the fossils? Only if they're like carving into the bone itself. And we do have that in some dinosaur fossils from Mongolia, from the Gobi Desert. I think from the Dejacta Formation. But I don't know if... Yeah, I don't think that's particularly common here. I think you had various species of like beetle and stuff, ones that are really happy to be burrowing around in sand. A lot of those dinosaurs got buried in sand dunes and stuff. Maybe some of them are collapsed burrows in the sand. But yeah, that would be... Yeah. So, like, I think maybe as the larvae are moving around, they're, like, actually leaving tiny little trails on the surface of the bone. I don't think we have that here. And I don't know if that's ever actually been found in North America on dinosaurs. Might be just a Mongolia thing. I'm not sure. Oh, and hey, Paleostream. Heard my name, but the other was meant. Yes. We were talking about Josh Lively over there. Let's go bug Josh for a minute. I know Michael, I think Michael might be talking to him right now. But, yeah, we'll ask Josh if we've got evidence of scavenging here. Oh, neat. So he's telling Josh about those bed forms there in the sand. How are you doing, Joshua? I hope things are good. I hope you had some excellent paleo streams recently over the weekend. I'm glad we were able to raid in when we could. And yeah. Oh, and Dyson Dinosaur, Filippo, thank you for raiding in. It's great to have you here. Welcome. I hope you had an excellent stream. How are things? We're doing a short stream here because we've got to go run into town to pick up some supplies and then meet some colleagues and some new friends out in town. Tomorrow, I might not even stream. It might be too crazy here at the site. But Susie Maidmont and Richard Butler from the University of Birmingham in the UK are going to be joining us with like 20 undergrads from England. So that is going to be interesting. It's going to be bedlam here. It's going to be chaos. So I'll stream if I can. I might be needed to help direct our new volunteers, basically, who have never dug before. So that's going to be cool. Yeah. And hey, Generating Views. Hello. Yeah. And let's see, somebody just raided in too after Dyson Dinosaur, right? Dealing with Spinosaur news leaks. Spinosaur news leaks, interesting. I heard about the new Megaraptoran today. Joaquin Raptor, but Spinosaur news leaks, interesting. It sounds relevant to me. It was just Felipe. Okay, thank you, Claire. Yeah. Quarrel, how are you doing? Hello. Make sure the English undergrads know how to hydrate. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. hopefully they know this. Hopefully they've seen the film Lawrence of Arabia, but indeed, England is not a desert country. They're going to need to learn how to survive in desert conditions out here, at least for a few days. They're sleeping in like a hotel in town with a swimming pool and everything, so it's not like they have to be out here 24/7 like all of us on the crew. But yeah, those undergrads are going to have to make sure that they drink enough water while they're out here. Do you prepare a tea set? Not yet, generating views. Yeah. This is a flavor desert, says Dances with Third. Oh no. And Britain was getting roasted through August, sweating bullets. I suppose you're right, huh? Okay. This is true, HD and HP. We have a lot more dinosaurs here, for one. Anyway, let's go bug Josh for a second and ask him that question: if we have any evidence of scavenging from here at Laurie's site, whether during his excavations or during the Denver Museum excavations. Yeah. Well, let's see.
Y'all could get it right. Anyway, hey guys.
Yeah. Let me bug you for a second. We had some questions about whether we have evidence of scavenging at Laurie's site so far. No shed teeth, no bite marks?
None that I've seen.
Nothing at all. Which is really interesting, because if these critters were sitting here on the surface, you know, disarticulating and everything for a long time before they got buried, you would expect, you know, scavengers to come along and be chewing on them, but we don't.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that I've seen. I haven't looked at every single bone in the Denver collection, and I can't remember from the paper if Carpenter talked about any from this site, but it's definitely not pervasive or anything like that. So
right, okay.
It wasn't some Utah Raptor buffet just sitting out.
Interesting.
Which does kind of make you wonder, you know, what was going on in between when these critters died, when they rotted and fell apart.
Yeah, seriously. Weird. Bizarre. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. That is really bizarre. There is a chance that just we haven't yet. I don't think it would be like a preservation bias thing. Like, I don't think, since we do have so many bones here, you would expect teeth to be fossilized as well. I'm trying to rack my brain to think if there's any kind of like groundwater chemistry bizarreness or something that could preserve bones and not preserve teeth, but I can't think of anything like that. Yeah, weird, really weird. So yeah. And Jen diggers and is streaming your thing. So I am a paleontologist, study fossils, I publish on them in the scientific literature, all of that. But I pay the bills through doing live streams. So science outreach is my full-time job. Everyone else here, except for Josh, is a volunteer, including me. None of us are getting paid to be here, except for Josh. Josh is salaried through his museum in Price, Utah. So this is his full-time job as well, museum. But all of us here, there's no budget to be able to pay everybody, you know? We barely have enough money for food and shade tarps and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm, to a certain extent, in the same boat as everybody else, you know? A few people here are students. So Michael Chiappone right there is a PhD student. And he's actually helping interpret this site. This is probably going to be part of his thesis. Yeah. But yeah, you know, most of us are just like this beetle. You know, we're just hanging out here, trying to help out, not getting paid. He says, not getting paid? Yeah, sorry, bud. Don't have the budget to pay you. Yeah. That makes sense? Yeah. That bug is still alive. What a legend. Well, there's a bunch of them out here generating content. They're generating views. I don't know if that's the same exact beetle. Might be. I don't know. They do get around. Yeah, and who's this fly over here? What are you doing there, friend? Oh, there he goes. Before I can get him on camera. Almost looked like a hoverfly, but it was really big. And hello to you too, Mustache Mike. Howdy, howdy. That guy's getting paid. It's from a place called Price. There you go, Hogan. Yeah. I know that Beetle. Tell him I said hi, Lamau. Okay, Flickster. Hey, Beetle. Hey, Flickster says hi. He doesn't seem too concerned.
Ontogeny.
Anyhow. Yeah. And... Oh, and thank you, Kleber, for reposting that. When you were talking with the guy, he mentioned the sand runs a long way. Yeah, Michael was saying that. To where does that mean you could possibly have bones all the way along the deposit? Yes. No, absolutely, yes. Yeah, so here's the thing, is that we've got this pit right here that I've been digging in, and we've got that one over there. They do seem to be a little bit different in what they preserve. That one is primarily larger bones that are more spaced out. This one is a lot of smaller bones that are super densely packed. But all throughout here, we've got Gastonia bones that are eroding. And pretty much this whole hillside here, if you dig down to that layer, you will find more Gastonia bones. This is an area roughly the size of a football field or two. About 2 acres. So acres, how do you translate that to like square kilometers? Somebody look that up. What's the conversion rate between an acre and a square kilometer? But yeah, about 2 acres through here. So if you find that layer exposed, that one bone bed layer, you dig down to that anywhere around here and you will find more Gastonia bones. They are everywhere. So, yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. Like I said, the largest ankylosaur site in the world, the densest, most prolific ankylosaur bone bed on planet Earth. Presumably on any planet. Yeah. It's nuts. A Gastonia graveyard. That's a good way to put it, Charlie's Dragon. It is exciting, Flickster. I mean, like Josh was saying the other day, he could be working here until he retires. If he wanted to do this full time, 11 weeks out of every year or whatever. There's a limited window when we can dig out here in eastern Utah, because it does get very cold during the winter. You do not want to be out here in January. Yeah, it's there might be some snow on the ground, everything might be frozen. It's very cold. And then during certain times of the year, it's just going to be blazingly hot too. But we're here when it's nice and comfortable for the most part. Forget about that windstorm from yesterday. This weather is actually really nice for this part of the world. This might be the nicest time of the year, frankly, in eastern Utah. Springtime might also be really nice too, but you might get more rain. Yeah. Anywho, you could work this site for decades and decades and still not excavate everything. This is like, you could turn this into another dinosaur national monument if you wanted to. It's extraordinary, the wealth of fossil material here. And the odd thing is it's almost entirely Gastonia bones. Almost entirely this ankylosaur. Just strange. Like, why, And very funny generating views. And Carva, I am saying there's no dinosaurs on Mars. I know, hot take, but... And Victoria says, do the freezing temperatures just make it more uncomfortable, or is it also more difficult to dig? Yeah, it wouldn't be possible to do like proper plaster jacketing, because in order to do that, in order to mix your plaster, you have to have liquid water. You mix that with plaster of Paris. And when it gets too cold, the chemical reaction just doesn't really kick right, and you wouldn't be able to make plaster jackets. Also, the ground might be frozen. It just, yeah. And if you're dealing with howling winds and sleet and snow, nobody wants to do that, you know. And 1 acre is equal to 0.004046 square kilometers. That seems way smaller than I thought. Huh. Yeah. Plaster popsicles, there you go, Charlie's Dragon, yeah. And Rabid Scotsman says about the bite marks, wouldn't an intense drought kill off most of the predators looking to eat those corpses? I guess that still leaves carrion birds? Well, there weren't carrion birds at the time. There were no vultures during the Cretaceous period. You might have had pterosaurs flying in, you know, those relatives of dinosaurs, the winged reptiles, pterosaurs. And they wouldn't leave tooth marks on the bones. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if anybody's ever really published on that, on feeding traces, or lack thereof, from pterosaurs. It's an interesting thought. You could have a scenario in which pterosaurs are... Well, a lot of them don't have teeth. Some of them did. But yeah, if you've got a situation where carrion-eating pterosaurs are picking at all these carcasses, they might not leave any trace in the fossil record, unless they happen to die here. That is an interesting thought. It's a very interesting thought. Yeah. 2 acres is about 8,000 square meters. Thank you, Charlie's Dragon. Excellent. So yeah, this site is about 8,000 square meters. That's really helpful. And just about every square meter of that might be full of Gastonia bones if you dig down to the right layer. Because again, here, you're not going to find it here on the surface. This is the wrong layer up here. When rocks get laid down, they're typically laid down horizontally. And so you can follow out certain beds horizontally. They can tilt and stuff like that, but, you know, once you correct for tilt, it's all horizontal. And so that layer down there is where we're finding all of these bones. Right there where Michael is brushing right there, and where Erica is sitting, that's where we've got the bones coming out. So if you cut away this hillside down to that layer, you would find more and more and more Gastonia. That's every indication that we have points to that. Because when we had crew members who were scouting around here, finding that same layer, everywhere they see it exposed, they find more bones. So it seems like just this entire hillside over here is just full of this stuff. There's Gastonia bones everywhere, which again is wild, you know? Anywho, something terrifying. There you go, Steely Dan, yeah. Good stuff. And thank you, Displacer, for the 26 months of support. I really appreciate that. Holy cow. Yeah. So, anywho, we're about halfway through our stream already. Shoot. We're going to have to wrap this up around 4 p.m. local time here. Because, again, we got to go into town, get some supplies, and then the enormous crew who's going to be joining us tomorrow. Like I said, there is a whole army of British undergrads, like 20 of them, along with well-known paleontologists Susie Maidmont and Richard Butler, who are joining us from the UK. They're going to be out here for a few days, and I'm going to do my best to, you know, show all of you at home, but it's also going to be all hands on deck. So, we'll see. Josh said that he might want me just walking around helping direct people, you know, teaching some of these undergrads how to dig and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how much or if I'll be able to stream at all tomorrow. We'll see. So my regards to Susie. Will do, Filippo. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Oh, and Flickster says, what is one thing you wish you had more of on dig sites? Oh, boy. Money. With that, we could afford more shade tarps, more I don't know. Some of the things I've been missing so far are like enough buckets to put our matrix in as we're digging, enough glue bottles. We've got, I think, 2 glue bottles for the whole shebang right now. That's not enough. Yeah, stuff like that. I wish we had a better kitchen tent because ours keeps giving us trouble. It got pretty well wrecked yesterday during the windstorm up here. It was potentially worse down in camp. Stuff like that, you know. I don't really mind not having flush toilets or running water or electricity out here. The electricity that we have to run the satellite internet is all solar power. That's how I'm doing that. But yeah, it's little things like glue bottles,
Ontogeny.
buckets for matrix, that kind of thing that I miss. It's a breed there. Okay, on it, says Flixter. Well, see what I can do to help? I appreciate that, Flixter. Holy cow. And Hogan says, I think as a general rule, money is the best thing to donate because it can be used on whatever is needed. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And we do have some donate links there that you can pull up with the commands in chat if you'd like to help the field work out here. Again, we run all of this on a shoestring budget. Job of managing things. And like none of us are getting paid. We're all volunteering here because there's just no budget to pay anybody. All of the money that comes into the budget for this goes towards supplies, food, fuel, the stuff that we actually need to dig up these dinosaurs and collect these data. So, yeah, very, very little overhead. It's not like we get to pocket any of that money at all. It all goes directly toward the science. And Kennedy says, I can send shoestrings. Very funny. Although we could probably use some, honestly, for some of the tarps. And at Camp Cook, says Copernicus Scat. I'll have to volunteer sometime when I get time. So Josh cooking. And he's been doing a darn good job of it as well, if I might say so. Even only vegetarian on the crew. Josh has been doing a great job of accommodating me. I feel grateful, you know. Shoot, I don't want to make a fuss. Yeah. Anywho. Does he make you call him chef when he cooks? No, but Alyssa and Jeff did get him an apron as a gift this year. I think it says Dig Daddy on it. It's really funny. But yeah. Yeah. Anywho. And Taco Bell has a Twitch channel? I didn't know that. Cool. I don't know where the nearest Taco Bell is. It's probably in Colorado, across the border over there. I'm guessing the closest Taco Bell is either in Fruita or Grand Junction, Colorado. Yeah. Or in Price, Utah, you know, where these fossils are headed. I'm going to readjust our solar panels over here too, because I want to make sure that we're getting enough juice to run everything properly. In fact, let's check our levels right here. All right, display. What are we at? 82%. Oh, not too shabby. Yeah. But let's turn these with the sun. There we are. Yeah. And Lenina gifted us up to Taco Bell. I appreciate that, Lenina. I really like Taco Bell. But, yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. We did that thing from Doling's Bowl. It's up on YouTube for your review. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that. I've got a zillion emails to respond to and to send out and stuff like that, so I might not get to that till I get home. But, yeah. I've got to reach out to some museums and some field crews and some colleagues and leatherback and all kinds of people like that. email work. Duh. Anywho. Yeah, and hey Murph, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Paleontologist VA, howdy, howdy. Good to see you here. Yeah, excellent. Let's go take another poke around the quarry real quick and talk about some of these critters. So maybe we can also point out some of these bones too. I'll grab one of my visual aids and we'll bring it down into the quarry with us. Again, here's our dinosaur that we're digging up. Here's a plastic model of it, Gastonia Lori McWhinney here. Lovely dinosaur. And as far as I know, this is the site where the first Gastonia Lori McWhinney was discovered. I think this is the type site for this species. There we go. There's Gastonia burgii, which is not quite as spiky. It's from earlier in time. But we can use that and let's kind of point out for you right now the different bones that we have exposed. This will actually be really nice to do before we have the Brits expose a bunch more bones tomorrow. I think that'll be good. I'll just kind of give you a rundown. Let me grab my laser pointer too while I'm thinking about it. That way I can gesture at things from afar. There we go. Ah. And let's see.
If you get access to the quarry.
It works. Good.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, we saw it. You get access to the last excavation that was in this area. I bet you
And
and then you could like use that as like gateways.
I'm
definitely gonna like try to.
And let's see. Hang on a second. I think we had a question in the chat. What are the age of these rocks? About 130 million years old, Murph. So from the poison strip member of the Cedar Mountain Formation. And Quixotic Odyssey says, do you think it's strange nobody's ever dug these bones before? It's been like 1 billion years. Well, I mean, they weren't exposed to the surface before. That's the thing. When we're out here in eastern Utah right now, this whole hillside here, you dig down to that layer, you will find these Gastonia bones. These will have been eroding out for probably thousands of years, maybe 100,000 years. We don't know how big this hillside used to be, but yeah. It happened to be discovered in the 1990s by Lori McWhinney, but there could have been bones eroding out for thousands of years prior to that, and just there weren't paleontologists to identify them and make a big fuss over them, you know? We do have evidence that people in ancient times did dig up dinosaur fossils. We're talking about like in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, in China hundreds and thousands of years ago, people were digging up fossils of dinosaurs, fossils of invertebrates, fossils of Cenozoic mammals, and pondering over them, making up stories about them, all kinds of stuff. But it's really only until it wasn't until like the mid-1800s, middle of the 19th century, that we started to study these things in an organized way that was beginning to become more scientific, you know? The word dinosaur itself was only coined in 1842. And it was when people started to realize, hey, there's these bones of critters that look like reptiles, but they're really strange. They're unlike reptiles today in a lot of ways. You know, what's the deal? And yeah, so it's really only within the last couple centuries that we've had real organized study of this sort of thing that's been saved for posterity, you know? Paleontology is a relatively young science in that regard. It's a lot younger than something like, say, physics, which goes all the way back to like Isaac Newton, you know, and before. Paleontology, by comparison, is new. And it's cool that we get to live and work today in the golden age of paleontology, especially as concerns dinosaurs. we have more work going on dinosaurs right now than at any point in the past. It's a great time to be a dinosaur paleontologist, except for funding. And Claire Burr says, if somebody couldn't send money but could get tarps and buckets, is there an address they could mail the supplies to? Yeah, they could mail them to the Prehistoric Museum in Price, Utah. Yeah, that's. You can look up the address online. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but in fact, maybe we'll ask Josh about that real quick, and see what he has to say about it, so that I can make sure that make sure that we're in agreement here. Yeah, let me go ask him. Let's see. Here's our other pit over here, where we tend to get fewer bones, but they're larger, they're more widely dispersed. That might have an interesting story to tell.
And there's probably, there was a cult following for it.
Yeah. Oh, ew.
Here we got a question, Josh.
What's up?
If a viewer would like to contribute to the museum, can't send money, but could potentially send supplies, like tarps and buckets.
Yeah.
Would that be useful, and where should they send it to?
Heck yeah. So if you just look on the museum's website, there's an address. It's 155 East Main Street, Price, Utah.
Nice.
And zip code 84501. Yeah.
Put the number pad out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So just you can send it to the museum's website.
Awesome.
Or to the museum's address. We
Perfect.
greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you to whoever is interested in being generous like that. Those in-kind donations. You know, if you were to talk to like a larger organization, a larger museum, they'd be like, don't bother. But here, you know, it's a fairly small organization, and we can use all the help we can get. We really appreciate the thoughtfulness, the generosity there. Yeah. And yeah, but again, look up the website look up the website to find the address. Good stuff. Yeah. And is Josh a lively fellow? I would say so, Kennedy. Yes. You guys don't have a John Hammond funding you? No, far from it, unfortunately. If there are any John or Jane Hammonds out there, yeah, or maybe a Jamie Hammond. If someone is maybe agender or something, we'd really appreciate any kind of support that, you know, a fabulously wealthy person might wish to bestow upon our humble institution here. That's that would be great. Which NB is very welcome, says Claire. There you go. Yeah. Let's take a little poke around the quarry here and talk about these different elements, and then we'll find them on here. So let's see what we got so far. It'll be nice to take inventory before hopefully we expose a lot more bones tomorrow when we've got a huge crew here. So
not alone anymore.
Yeah, Jake's got some friends in the quarry now. Excellent. Yeah. So here we've got that rib. My laser Vanna White here. There we go. Rib right here. Which of course, those are the ribs on this animal. Really big, like barrel of a rib cage here on these critters. It's impressive. Big stout animals. And we've got, let's see, find some other pieces. We've got that vertebra right there, which to me looks like a caudal. So that's going to be one of the vertebrae from the tail. I'm guessing that's so cool. Probably... Yeah, that's Greg Paul's skeletal right there.
Oh, that's so nice.
And then on the other side, I've got, this is from Jim Kirkland,
Oh, those
Gastonia
are like
Burgei and Lori McWhinney. So you can,
Gotcha.
compare them side to side.
Oh my gosh,
So yeah.
that's cool.
I like that visual aids like
I know we
this.
had that 3 days earlier.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Copies for everybody.
Yeah, mainly for the benefit of chat, but if anybody else wants to look at it, you certainly can. But let's see, what else have we got? Here, help me out. How many other elements do we have that are identifiable right now?
In this quarry, mostly ribs and osteoderms. There's a few things that are probably like there's a limb bone here.
Yeah. That to me almost reminds me of like a hadrosaur humerus. Do you think that might be a tib?
I think it was a tib.
I think
Was
tib.
Okay.
not confirmed, but the idea.
Yeah. So tibia is the main shin bone.
Yeah,
Right
tibia
there.
and ischium here.
Field,
Oh, ischium here.
field identification is a heck of a drug.
Yeah. it's
almost never right.
It's tentative, but makes us feel
This is
good.
the assumption of what we have.
So tibia is right there. That's the main shin bone, the big one. And then ischium is, where's the ischium on this guy? They've got such weird hips. I guess it would be right there. The ischium. That's a strange shape. But I can totally see that being the ischium, I
Yeah,
guess.
something like
Given
that.
that.
I don't know if
Bones.
it's maybe deformed or something, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've got a couple little osteoderms here.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Go over there.
Let's take a peek.
Yeah, so
Step carefully.
these two little guys.
Thanks, Erica. Nice.
Yeah.
So right here and right here, little armor plates.
Yes.
And each one of these guys would have had hundreds, maybe 1,000 armor plates.
Yeah, at least.
So it's
These were deeply rooted in the skin, and they just covered the whole animal.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get big ones and then these little tiny guys that are interspersed through all the larger areas. These are completely in my way because there's this bone is going down underneath here.
Okay.
And so at some point these have to come off and
Right.
be logged and cataloged so that I can get under here and see what's happening if we're continuing to move through.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of strategy involved at a site like this where you've got this many bones. It's,
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, but it does require you to think very carefully about how deep you're digging and the order in which things have to be removed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's all like slightly tilted.
Yeah. Not complaining.
Yeah.
Not complaining at
And
all.
these are interesting. It almost reminds me of like a radius and ulna, the way that they're paired side by side right here.
Isn't it? But Josh
They're probably not, though.
Josh thinks that they're two fibulas,
Oh, wild.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they can't possibly be from the same animal. They're two fibulas.
Right.
So that's part of the mystery of this whole bone bed is who belongs to what, and
Yeah.
are any of these actual bones articulated to each other?
Uh-huh.
Again, we can't really make good determinations of that out here in the field. That's for the
Right.
prep lab and for the scientific study afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why it's so important as well for us to document where exactly everything comes from, make really good quarry maps, take really good logs, all that stuff, so that it makes...
The positioning tells a story about how these animals came to rest and what happened to them after they died and how forces moved their bones around, everything that Michael's talked about from the taphonomic processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And shoot, while I've got you here, if anybody in chat is not yet familiar with Erica, introduce yourself if you wouldn't mind for everybody at home.
Awesome. Well, yeah, hey, my name is Erica Tandy, and I am a volunteer at the University of Austin Paleontology Lab. I work for both the non-vert and the vertebrate paleo labs, and I'm a kind of an apprentice preparator and also paleo artist. Yeah, so this is what I do in my free time, and I have a lot of fun, and this group it's great because they'll teach you on the fly, and if you have a lot of patience and willingness to just crouch in a shrimp form all day, I've been straight shrimping all day.
Well, Erica is awesome. It's been great having her here, and it's really cool that, like,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
even if you're not like trained as a paleontologist, like you're a veteran field person. Like you've picked up so many skills over the years. And
Yeah, I've done
really cool.
I've done about 10 digs. I had some really good teachers.
Yeah.
But I've always been interested in osteology and
Yeah.
skeletons and everything like that. So it was a natural fit for me once I retired from my other job. So it was an easy transition, but then again, I had a lot of willing teachers, and I'm also willing to just suffer out in the field and be hot and sweaty and dirty, which is a requirement. So if you like that.
Yeah. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make is that, you don't have to be... Paleontology doesn't have to be your career to be able to contribute to work like this. And you know, you can be a total beast in the field like Erica is here, just, you know, doing really cool stuff. Well, I mean that in the kindest way.
No, my field name is Beast Mode, so you know, I'm totally okay with that.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my degree is in fine arts.
Nice.
And
okay.
then I worked for many years in corporate America and just moved numbers from one side of a spreadsheet to another.
Yeah.
But I was never far from paleontology in my personal interests.
Right.
So it's here for you. And the great thing about this is it's never going to go away. It will always be here.
Right.
So you can come to it whenever you can, even if your life takes you in a way that isn't into, say, like college and academia to study specifically. You can always go back. I might go back. I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Erica.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant. Here, let's see if we can find some other bones over here too that we can identify. But yeah, I did want to make that point that I say this all the time, but you don't have to be a paleontologist, quote unquote, to do paleontology.
You can see some of the
This field takes all different kinds of people, different skill levels, different levels of experience. Some people are intensely dedicated, like Erica, and some people just kind of come out and do this during the summer for fun. And it all helps, you know? So if you're looking to get involved with this kind of thing, you can. You watching at home, you could be out here if you wanted to be, you know?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, just knowing that there's somebody else with the same idea is also good.
Yeah. Anything else identifiable over here? It's tricky because it's just this
Good
pavement of bone. Like that could be a rib, that could be a transverse process or a rib. This stuff is just everywhere. It's nuts.
More all the time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'll go look over there at the other site because that stuff might be a little bit easier to identify.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll use this too.
It's a little more clear.
Try and point this out, but this is going to be cool because over the next couple days, after the British invasion, we'll have a lot more bones exposed to show off, and hopefully some of those will be identifiable too. It's cool to be able to point and go, there's a dinosaur bone to everyone watching at home, but it's even cooler to be able to say, hey, it's this particular element. This is a fibula, this is a humerus, this is a transverse process, that kind of thing. So let's poke around over here for a minute.
We're about to start plastering.
Oh, nice. First plastering of the season.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Get it ready.
Yeah, I'm glad I came over. Beautiful.
Good time.
Yeah. This Jeff, if anybody's not familiar with you yet, out of Price, Utah, and they are kind of like assistant crew chiefs almost. Yeah. How long have you been digging with Josh?
So this is my second season.
Nice. Okay. Cool. I would have guessed it was more actually, just based on I don't know all the stories and everything that you have. It's
I volunteer in the prep lab too, and
yeah. Nice.
We spent a lot of time paleontologizing on our own before we realized we could actually talk to paleontologists. And
so kind of doing the classic rock hounding and stuff.
But you know, searching through formations to learn more about like vegetation and ecosystems and stuff like that, and understand like why we're finding what we're finding, and learn as much as we could about the area. You know, because you find a dinosaur bone, when you're looking for wood, you find a dinosaur bone. Yeah. And you want to know why. You know, instead of where can I just find more, is what did this look like? And so we were big fan kids of Josh Lively and like Jim Kirkland well before we met them.
Oh really? Oh, that's really cool.
We met them, we're like, oh, it's the guy from our paper. So we didn't realize how accessible paleontology actually was, and that you could just volunteer and learn.
That's the point that I'm trying to make to the viewers, is that if anyone has an interest in this kind of thing,
come do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like totally worth it.
Yeah, you can get involved. It's much easier than you would think it would be. You know. Yeah.
You don't have to spend years learning in your basement.
Alone.
You don't have to be in student loan debt. You can just come out here and work. Dive into it.
Jeff does pools, and I'm a sales training though.
Nice.
Very different from what we like to do in our downtime.
So this is cool. I was saying that over in this pit we've got much larger bones that are potentially easier to identify. Got a bunch of these over here, and I'm not totally sure. I'm not sure what's here under this jacket.
I can't remember what's under that one.
Last year.
Yeah, so that's a scapula coracoid.
Oh,
so
nice. Okay.
Shoulder.
Let me let me show here. Hold this down so it doesn't blow away. Yeah. So scap coracoid is going to be right there. That's the shoulder girdle. Here it is there too. Yeah. What else we got?
So that's one. This is side turned.
Another scap coracoid. Yeah,
180 degrees.
Wild. So
from
this is convex. This is concave.
That's right.
Very cool.
Yeah. Which is bizarre. They're not.
They're yeah, there's oftentimes if you've got kind of the say, you'll have everything that's concave, all down, but it's not the case. So kind of interesting part of the story that Michael might have already talked about a little bit, but that it's in a it's big. They actually are. One is a right, one is a left. So could they be from the same animal? Maybe. But so
two individuals.
Yeah, it could be two different individuals. That one's. But yeah, beyond that, that bone right there is a tibia.
That's right there. So shin bone, the main shin bone.
Just a lot of plates. Hard to kind of make them out. It helps.
Laser pointer for this? Or you can just point to them.
Yeah, I can just outline them. So there's one plate that would be kind of on one, a little bit smaller right there.
So where would these be on here?
Could be one of those. Could be one of these further down the tail.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to see once you know what the base looks like, and
we won't know that until we get in the lab. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This one, based on that side, is probably kind of far down the tail.
Okay.
That's some other question mark bone. Who knows? Some other kind of not well preserved osteoderms. Problem over here is that so far we're mostly just digging through the soil horizon.
Yeah.
So everything's kind of deeply weathered. You'll notice roots sticking out. So
this is right near the surface, like taking minerals out of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, hell, there's a root going right into that bone. So that'll be a problem when we try to flip that jacket out. But yeah, what we're finding is that as we're getting into bedrock, like back over here, a plate that we found last year and then didn't have time to pull out, so we buried it. The bone is getting much nicer quality, much more like what we have at the other site where we're already digging in bedrock. So, so far, a couple of shoulder blades and some bigger pieces of armor. But also from this side, this area, we've gotten other limb bones. In general, bigger. We got a sacrum, so the vertebrae in between the hips, about that big. So, pretty decent sized stuff over here.
Nice. Interesting that everything over here seems so much larger than over there.
Yeah, and it'll be one thing I'm interested to see. I was also going to look and see what's in this jacket. We've got it all mapped in. Rib, spine, so one of the spines coming off the top of the animal, another osteoderm under it. So several bones in this that we were able to isolate, and we'll probably be able to flip that out here in the next week.
Nice.
Once we get maybe some of these bones behind it out. Another limb bone right there. That thing I think is part of the hip. I was trying to, at first we thought it might be a distal femur, so thigh bone with the knee, but it turned pretty thin, so it's a hip bone.
Gotcha.
Lots of cool stuff, but much bigger bones than we get over there.
Yeah.
Which probably tells us something about
like the flow.
The flow.
100%. Very cool. Neat. Well, thanks for taking the time, Josh.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna grab a knife for
We've
cutting
got
burlap. Thankfully, hardware store stays up until 7. So
oh, nice. Okay, so we've got longer than we thought.
Yeah, we can hang out here, work till 4:30 at least.
Okay, beautiful, nice.
Get ourselves shined up to go to the hardware store.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. For our Sunday best.
Yeah. Buff
We've
out
got
the dirt a
shirts
little
for
bit. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. We've got the
paleo shirt.
NSFW shirt.
Nice. Well, yeah. There we go. So, one of the questions I know we're going to get is, why don't you just expose everything to the point where you can identify it all in the field? Like, why are you sending these things back to the lab without knowing what they are? And the answer is, if we take away enough rock to fully identify a lot of these things, we risk damaging it or destroying it. The point is we're getting these things out of the ground as safely as possible. These are delicate bones that have been in the ground for 130 million years. They're shot through with roots and stuff like that over there. Modern roots from modern plants. So when these plants are growing, they send their... And I'm sure there are Gastonia bones underneath my boots right now. And these plants are probably feeding off some of the minerals in those. It's big. So anyway, out here in the field, it's not laboratory conditions out here, We're out here in the middle of the wilderness. There's dust and wind and rain and plant roots and bugs and all that stuff. Our mission out here is to extract as many of these fossils as safely as we can, and document it as well as we can so we can bring it back to the lab, and then the actual detailed cleaning can happen under controlled conditions. So in an air-conditioned lab, like with the benefit of time and having glue and lots of other tools and stuff like that around, it's a lot easier to work on these things indoors in the laboratory than it is out here in the field under these conditions here. So a lot of those identifications are going to have to wait until we get to the laboratory, if that makes sense. And that's one of those temptations that we always have to battle out here in the field, is you always want to know exactly what it is that you're digging. And so there's always a temptation to chip away a little bit too much rock. You might undermine the fossil a little bit. You might risk damaging it. You got to take a breath and just go, you know what? I'm not going to know what this is right now. I can't be 100% sure. Let's get it back to the laboratory, and, that way we know that it's safe. We can identify it later, Yeah. Yeah. And how many armored dinosaur bones have you guys discovered on this particular dig? That's a difficult question to answer, Helvetica Scenario, because this is a multi-year project out here. So Josh and crew have been digging here for 2 years prior to this, and you can actually see some of that in the that Walking with Dinosaurs episode that premiered a couple months ago, back in June. I think we have a link to that with one of the commands. But yeah, so how many bones so far this season? We've probably got like 100 or so over the last few days, because we just got here a couple days ago. I got here on, Friday? Friday evening. We started digging on Saturday, and we already started finding things then. Today's Tuesday. We've probably got over 100 bones, mostly from over here, that are new. We'll probably have hundreds more, maybe close to 1,000 new bones by the end of this particular field season, which will be in, another 2 weeks, something like that, 2.5 weeks. I'm here for 3 weeks, so till October 1st or thereabouts. And yeah. But it's tricky. We'll know for sure if we look at the log books afterward, because we log every specimen. I'm not sure what our current count is, and I don't want to bug Josh right now while he's working on plastering and everything. But yeah. I meant this season. Yeah. We don't know yet, but we'll have a count for you later. And let's see. What's the shopping list for the hardware store, says Kennedy? Here, let me look. I have been keeping a list. Safety muffins, which is what I call the little plastic caps that you put on pieces of rebar so that people don't get impaled on them. We need to get some of those. It's a real safety thing. A pipe cutter, so that we can cut down some of the EMT conduit that we have that supports our shade tarps. We want to be able to cut that down to the proper size. So we need to get a pipe cutter. We need more spikes, some more like metal stakes to put in the ground, especially since I happened to borrow a bunch of those as soon as I got to camp, because somehow didn't pack my brand new tent stakes that I bought. So I had to use some of the ones we already had in camp, and I'll pay for those since that was my mistake. And then we need more Rubbermaid tubs or some sort of like plastic tub that we can put matrix into. And I also want to look for glue bottles as well. In fact, I'm going to put that on the list right now. I might even get those at the grocery store, at least for myself. I like having my own little glue bottle. And yeah, so I should have brought one of the mustard bottles from back home, but I think I may have already donated those to another field crew. So, yeah. But that's our list. Yeah. And where does all the rebar come from, or what are they for? So we bring it with us. That's where it comes from. Get it at the hardware store. But rebar like this particular one here, we could probably take out at this point. But this is at an angle, which tells me that it was used for the shade tarps in the past. So we have these metal line, or these, oh, this one came out of the ground. Well, we have these lines that are supposed to keep this thing from blowing. That didn't work out if any of you saw that clip or if you watched it live. Really strong wind just ripped this thing out of the ground. Yeah, but the rebar is for that. And also we have rebar that's here on a more permanent basis. That is our data grid. So as we're excavating all of these bones, we have a grid that's laid out. So, you know, it's kind of like, if you ever played the game Battleship, it's like a coordinate system. That way we can record exactly where each of these bones came from on that grid system. So here's one of our datum rebars right here. That line attached to it so we can have a nice horizontal line going to the other one, and we can measure out from there 1 meter, 2 meters, and we can record where each of these bones is before we excavate them. There's a process that needs to happen to actually take the bones out of the ground. Sometimes we photograph them, but we always try to draw them onto a map, and then we put them into a logbook and we record where each one came from according to our coordinate system. And this could be really important because if we're trying to figure out, you know, which of these different bones belong to which of these different individual Gastonia dinosaurs, you got to know where they came from before you can figure that out. Also, we've got potentially really interesting and important information in there where, like, well, if all the limb bones are over here and all the vertebrae are over there, that might tell you something about how this water was flowing when it was burying these bones. It's going to carry the lighter, more mobile things further than the heavier, less mobile things. And so in recording where each of these different things were found, we can tell which direction the water is flowing when it was depositing these bones 130 million years ago. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. And have you ever found an egg? I've never found a fossil egg. No. I know a lot of people who have. No, I take that back. I have found fossil eggshell before. Never a whole intact egg. Usually you find eggshell. But yeah, I found some of that in the Mustn't Touch It member of the Cedar Mountain Formation a few years back. Yeah. Eggshell and fossil eggs are a tricky thing because you often need really specific conditions to preserve them. Eggshell tends to be pretty delicate. Especially if it's like soft-shelled egg. Yeah. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody calling my name. Yeah, so certain conditions will preserve eggshell, but those tend to be pretty rare oftentimes. If you get, like, if the surrounding rock or the soil is too acidic, at the time of burial, that eggshell will just dissolve. I think especially if it's like soft-shelled egg, it's less likely to be preserved. So you often need really specific conditions to preserve eggs. That makes sense? Yeah. And Kennedy says, Emily asked because I'm always interested in the areas the digs are near. And the True Value site stays open until 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. Oh, interesting, Kennedy. Is that where we're headed? Let me check on that real quick. Hours. 6 p.m. It does say 6 p.m., doesn't it? Huh. Yeah, let's see here. Is this the one that's on Main Street? Yep. Hours closes 6 p.m. Let me go tell Josh, because that's pertinent information. Thank you, Kennedy. Shoot. Hey, Josh. Somebody in chat looked it up in the, I just confirmed, the hardware store closes at 6 tonight in Green River.
No, that called them. They've got, it's 6 on Google. You call them, they'll tell you 7.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, chat.
Excellent.
Looking out, chat.
I guess they said they'd stay up until 7 for us, or it's wrong on Google or whatever, but yeah, excellent.
You and I might be. Actually.
Yeah. And Trooper says, is it possible that a fungus can be fossilized? Particularly common. Like for the body of a fungus to be fossilized, it does happen. But it's rare. What's much more common are the spores from a fungus. Those tend to be much more numerous, and you can find those in the fossil record if you're looking real closely. So it requires a microscope, but you can do that in the same way that we study like fossil pollen and stuff like that. I say we, I mean paleontologists in general. Paleontologists will study fossil pollen. Yeah, and there are paleontologists who study fossil fungal spores also. But like fossil mushrooms are such an ephemeral thing. They tend to be very delicate. I don't think they fossilize particularly well. I'm sure there's fossil mushrooms somewhere in the world. I wouldn't be shocked if there's some in like amber and stuff like that. But yeah, it would require very specific conditions to fossilize a mushroom, for instance. Yeah. And yeah. Anywho. Conical Bell says, time is so funny. You're looking at millions-year-old bones. 130 million years old. But an hour makes a big difference? It does, yeah. That's how it goes. Because we're a long way from town. It's going to take a while to get there. We're only going there like one time and the next week. So we got to make sure we don't screw it up. Got to make sure we're there at the right time before things close. Squirrel RK says, see any coyotes recently? No. I heard some the other night. I don't think I heard any last night. They're definitely out here. And we may have had one eating some of the spaghetti sauce we dumped in a little pit next to camp. We were talking about that the other day, but I've not seen any in the daylight, no. I've not seen any at night either. I've just heard them at nighttime. They're fun. They're a nice reminder that we're not the only largish mammal out here. There's the coyotes, who are our neighbors. And Dr. Terminator, I did see Joaquin Raptor this morning. Yes, that's cool stuff. Yeah, it's funny. I heard about that earlier in the summer. Matt LaManna was talking about that, so I got the skinny on that before it was published, which is really cool. Matt LaManna's second author on that new paper, and it's going to be important. That critter's going to help tell us Like, we've got skull material from it, limb material, we've got some verts. It looked like that thing might have been eating a croc around the time that it died. Potentially. Yeah. And Dulwis says, are there many paleontologists specializing in coprolites? There's not many, no. The only person I can think of who specializes in coprolites, off the top of my head, is Karen Chin. I got to meet her last year at SVP. For those of you who are not aware, coprolites are fossilized dung. Fossil droppings, fossil poops, which can be incredibly cool and informative. It can tell us what's going on in an ecosystem in terms of pooping. If you can find fossil dung, and if you can tentatively trace it to a particular animal, then you know what it's eating. You can try and do that with like teeth and stuff, or with general morphology of jaws or feeding apparatus, but there's a bit of a disconnect between, oh, we think maybe they're eating this because they look this way. If you can figure out what they're actually eating by studying their fossil poop, that's a smoking gun right there, you know? It could be tremendously informative to find fossil droppings. There's not enough people who study that, I think. Karen Chin is the most well-known coprolithologist in the world, as far as I know. She might be getting pretty close to retirement, too. I hope other people are doing that also. But that's not a world I know a whole lot about, I suppose. Yeah. And dung equals behavior. Exactly, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. And Eddie Scarin says, do you also hear elk bugling other than coyotes? No, I've never heard an elk out here. I don't know if we have elk. I don't think there's enough for them to eat, honestly. Like, the forage here is not very good. I've also never seen a deer out here. I've seen pronghorn, Antilocaprids. They're the antelope from the song Homo Antelope play. They're not actually antelope, though. They're a different kind of mammal called an Antilocaprid, related to things like giraffes and then to things like goats. Anywho. But yeah, I've never seen any deer nor any elk out here. I've done a lot of work just a few miles that way at Doling's Bowl. We're here at Laurie's site, just a few miles away. I've never seen any elk here in this area. I don't think they live here. I think they tend to prefer more forested areas, or at least areas with more grass. Here, there's not much good to eat for them. You know, you get sagebrush, you get ephedra right here. This scrubby stuff. You get cactus. I don't think any of these things are particularly appetizing to a big mammal like elk. Yeah. There's also a reason we don't see many cattle here, is what are they gonna eat, you know? This is slim pickings for a cow out here. Near Moab, Utah, near Arches National Park, right over there. And that's rattlesnake country. Ran into any while doing digs. Years ago, we had 3 rattlesnakes that came into camp, and they showed up right before we left, too. We mostly get faded midget rattlers out here. That's Crotalus something, I don't know. But they tend to be pretty small. And relatively chill. They're not aggressive animals. And I think that year I relocated all 3 of them. So I picked them up with my snake stick, I put them into a plastic tub, and then I, for, I don't know, half a mile or something, and let them go far away from camp and areas that looked suitable where they might be able to find mice and stuff. I really like snakes. I will go out of my way to help save a snake who might otherwise get run over by a car or hassled by some careless, you know, heartless person. Snakes are important animals, and I think they get a really bad rap. So I always go out of my way to be kind to snakes. And I like snakes too, Kenny. Yeah. And Crimson says goats would probably clear this. I don't know if goats would be able to survive out here. There's not any water. And I understand goats like to have water. There's none to be had out here. You could get some from the plants that you're eating, but it's so dry. I don't think goats would thrive in an area like this. You'd have to provide them with a lot of water. But yeah, they'd probably eat up some of this stuff. And do you have one of those poles with the curved end and moves? Exactly, Crimson Garden. That's my snake stick. Yeah, it's got like a little shepherd's crook thing at the end. Yeah. And there are also western diamondbacks. I've never seen one out here at Iskoren. I've been working out in this part of the world for since 2022. So 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my 4th year working out here. I've never seen a diamondback. They might be out here, but I've just never seen them. And Dan the BC Man says, did much get damaged in the dust storm yesterday? Not really. We got lucky, I suppose. The poles that got bent on the shade tarps, we were able to re-bend back into shape. And yeah, the fossils don't seem to be damaged or anything, so we were lucky, for sure. It did certainly cost us some time, which is a precious commodity out here. But they've got about another, 2 weeks out here? 2.5 weeks, something like that? I've got about another week and a half. And, yeah. I'm glad I was able to capture that on stream. I heard Josh actually posted that clip to his Instagram page. So if you check out the Instagram for the Prehistoric Museum, give him a follow, actually. I think that's on there. I don't have Instagram on my phone, so I can't check, but all of you check that. Make sure, if you want to, put the link on there. Yeah. And let's see. And were there any prehistoric snakes? Absolutely, Trooper. Yeah, they go back to yeah, snakes go back into the Cretaceous period. The first fossil snakes still have legs, which is really cool. Snakes are a kind of lizard, so they evolved from earlier lizards, probably kind of close to monitor lizards. So things like a Komodo dragon are relatively close to the origin of snakes, as I understand it. I think that's the general consensus. But yeah, some of the first fossil snakes that we have still have little itty-bitty legs, and then over time, as they continue to evolve, they lose those. And there's still a big debate right now as to whether snakes first evolved as burrowing animals or as swimming like ocean animals. Are snakes marine or fossorial in their origins? And it seems like the general consensus is leaning toward them being fossorial, being burrowing animals. Because if you think about it, if you're the sort of critter that that's evolving to snake its way through burrows, go after mammals and other underground critters like that during the Mesozoic, legs are just going to get in the way, you know? They're so it does make a lot of sense to lose those limbs. You're fossorial. And we see this in a lot of modern lizard groups too. Snakes are not the only kind of lizard that's ever lost their legs. We've got a whole bunch of different groups. That's something like 10 or 20 different families of lizards have evolved to lose their legs entirely. So we've got, snakes are not the only legless lizards around, which is cool to think about. And they like to hang out underground. They dig around. That kind of. And let's see. And don't they go fairly far into the Cretaceous? I think they do. I want to say they go back into like almost the early Cretaceous there, Crimson. But I'm a little rusty on what are the dates on some of these early things like Najash and stuff like that. Najash. Or Paleophis, I think, is another one. I forget exactly how old they are. I want to say they're like middle Cretaceous, maybe about 100 million years old. But I don't remember the specifics off the top of my head. Yeah. And snakes are not dinosaurs, Seku-sama. No, snakes are a kind of lizard, and lizards are not dinosaurs. If you look at modern reptiles, which includes lizards, tuatara, snakes are a kind of lizard, turtles and crocs, and then birds. Birds are a kind of dinosaur, which are a kind of reptile. Lizards are actually the furthest from dinosaurs among modern groups of reptile. Dinosaurs are not lizards. They're not particularly closely related to lizards. In fact, among modern reptiles, lizards are the furthest thing from dinosaurs. Lizards and tuatara, I guess. So yeah, turtles are more closely related to dinosaurs than lizards are. Yeah, and Great Basin or Western rattlesnake, maybe Copernicus. I've never seen either of those. I've only ever seen it's feel weird saying it, but that is the common name for this animal. The midget-faded rattlesnake is the one that I've seen and interacted with here in this part of the world. I've never seen any other kind of rattler. Yeah. And Cosmo Quest, how are you doing? Hello, welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. How was your stream, Cosmo Quest? Hope it went well. If anybody's here for the very first time, allow me to introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm out here in Utah answering your questions and showing you what it's like to be on a real-life dinosaur dig. This is my, 10th week of fieldwork this year so far? It'll be 11 weeks by the end. I feel really lucky to be able to do this kind of thing. And I'm going to drink some more water right now before I forget, because it's pretty dry out here. You got to make sure you stay hydrated. There we go. Let's go poke around in the quarry a little bit more. And, hey, Casey Snowart, how are you doing? Hello. Hang on. Oh, good stuff. And did we get another raid? Or is that... Oh, it's Cosmic Quest raid. Nice. 11 weeks of fieldwork in 20... I know, right, Casey? Next year it might be even more. We'll see. We've had a good year so far. It's been really nice. But, for anybody just joining us here, we're at the site called Lori Site out here in eastern Utah. So to give you an idea of where we are, if you're at all familiar with this part of the world, Arches National Park is right over there. That horizon there is the eastern border of Arches National Park. From camp, you can actually see Delicate Arch over there. Colorado is that way, just maybe 100 miles that way, something like that, maybe less. Moab, Utah is kind of due south of us, I think. Yeah. And then Green River, Utah is somewhere over there. This is called Lori Site, so this is the world's largest and most prolific and densest ankylosaur bone bed on the planet. How did I start that sentence? Did I say the world's largest on the planet? Anyway, huge number of bones of armored dinosaurs from this site. And all of them seem to be from this critter. Not actual size, this is a small model. Picture this animal 15 feet long, about 5 meters. So that's about as long as a small pickup truck maybe. And yeah, much more aggressive, if you can believe it. We don't actually know if they're aggressive, but it certainly looks like an aggressive animal, doesn't it? It's a plant eater, an herbivore, one of these armored dinosaurs, a thyreophoran, an ankylosaur, and they're covered with all of these spikes and armor plates like that. We are finding scads of those here at this site. What's unusual is that, unlike other bone beds, this one is almost entirely monospecific, meaning that we've got one species here. It's almost all Gastonia lori-mcwinnii, which is bizarre. Normally you find scatterings of other kinds of critters. Here, almost everything that we're finding is from Gastonia, we think. So why did we have so many animals here? We've got, hundreds of these critters that all got buried in the same place. Why? And why is there almost no other kind of animal here? It's a mystery that we're trying to figure out. So we've got one pit here, one over there, and this whole hill right here, if you dig in at this layer, you will find more throughout this whole thing. It's roughly 8,000 square meters, so about 2 acres of bone bed here. You could be working this site for, dozens of years, maybe a century, and still not find everything. Wild, This is the sort of thing that could be like part of a national monument, if you wanted it to be. In fact, some people have dreams of making it that. Anyhow, it's really cool, and we're really lucky to be here. And is there a convention to number sites like Dino 1, 2, 3, 4 for Lori site? So we do have a convention for like numbering the individual specimens that we collect. Here I think it's like LS something something number. Some of these might even be on the jackets if they're mapped in. But yeah.
Yeah, they're mapped in. We don't stick a number on it till we pull it out. But
gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
at least most of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will.
So
He's right.
right here, Josh and Alyssa and Jeff are working on jacketing some of these bones. It'll be nice to have these things covered before British invasion tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're gonna have like 20 undergrads coming in from the UK, and 2 professors from the UK as well. Susie Maidmont and Richard Butler are gonna be here, and we've actually shown videos featuring both of those paleontologists on stream before, so you might actually recognize them if you're a longtime viewer.
Richard's interview about ankylosaurs recently.
But yeah.
That was funny.
Anyhow,
I was
so
reading about it and then I saw his picture. I was like, ow!
right here they're applying a layer of separator, so toilet paper over the surface of the bone and rock. That'll keep the plaster and burlap from sticking to it, so that you can pull it off and everything. So yeah, good stuff. We'll let them continue to concentrate on it.
To dab toilet. Yeah. It's arts and crafts for paleontologists.
Then we call it the burlap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How difficult was it to cut the burlap this time? Because I actually brought as a gift some fabric shears.
Oh, nice.
That it sounds silly, but like I used it in Wyoming, and holy cow! Or no, not in Wyoming. We wished we had it in Wyoming. Used it in Dolang's Bowl last month, and it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, because normally we're using my bread knife, which I've used for burlap way more than bread in my life. So I've always I'll be at home pulling out the burlap knife, and I mean bread knife. Yeah, we had knives. We had Jeff's really sharp knife.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it worked out fine.
Cool.
But yeah, if you've got some scissors,
brand new ones fabric shears.
Oh, those
nice kinds. So.
Those are the nice kind.
Yeah, those would be nice.
Those are the kind you steal from your mom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got these off Amazon, but
I got these from my mom.
I still have the pair of stuff from my mom.
Nice. But yeah. What was that phone message? I hope my phone isn't overheating.
My toilet paper.
What's going on here? Reduce screen timeout.
Can I borrow that after you?
How are we doing battery-wise? Oh, we're doing okay. But yeah.
Turn it inside out, you get too used to
Too many PhDs there, not enough SOIS or cooks. The only PhD here is Josh. But yeah, at least so far, And butter knife would be worse. Yeah, Charlie's Dragon. Yeah. Isn't toilet paper important out in Neverland? Of course it is, Sekusama. But we have a copious amount of toilet paper, we'll have to use a different term tomorrow when all the Brits are here. We'll have to call it loo roll. Lots of loo roll, but we'll use a lot of that when we're here as separator when we're jacketing, and then we use a little bit for ourselves too, to attend to personal business when nature calls. But yeah, that is one of our essential items. So we go through a lot of TP out here during a field season. Yeah, bog roll. There you go, Claire. Oh, you're good, Conical Bells. No worries. And Brits don't say loo roll? They don't?
Like now that we've excavated so
I thought they did. I've heard Brits say that before. Yeah.
I know. Wow.
I don't know. Do we have anybody from the UK in chat willing to chime in? Loo roll is a term that people use, right? I'm not hallucinating this. I see loo roll all the time. It's regional, though, says Toilet Gator. Thank you. And see, we have a real expert there in the chat. A Toilet Gator, if you will. Thank you, Toilet Gator. I trust your opinion more than just about anybody's on this topic. Posh people say that, says Hamilton Bond. Okay. As early as this morning. Thank you, Rainstorm Fur. Yeah. Anywho, we got probably another 25 minutes worth of streaming to do here before I got to pack things up, and then we'll get ready to head into town. But that's going to be fun. Yeah, I've been out here less than a week at this point. I only showed up on Friday. It's Tuesday. It's easy to lose track of time and forget how long you've been out. It's going to be nice to see civilization again, to the extent that we can say that about a little tiny town in eastern Utah. But it'll be nice. And I think we've got a nice dinner ahead of us as they go out to meet the Brits. Crimson Carnotaurus, that's really funny. I love Australian slang. Yeah. Yeah. And Seiko-sama says, do you have a drone for drone aerial shots? I do not, no. Maybe one day we'll have like a switching panel where I can switch between this camera and like an overhead drone and some other stuff for streaming, but no, we might have a crew member showing up with a drone at some point, but that's mostly going to be a thing for fun. We don't really have too many uses for that, for data collection in paleontology. And it's not very good for prospecting most of the time. You can find ways to try and use something like that, but most of the time drones and paleontology are like a solution in search of a problem, you know? If you actually want to study the rocks, if you want to figure out what's going on in them, you got to put your nose up to them. You got to be there, boots on the ground, with the rocks in person. A digital image or video of rocks can only tell you so much. You've got to be able to pick it up and scratch it with your fingernail and, you know, lick it, maybe chew a little bit of it in order to tell the grain size and the consistency and stuff like that. You just can't do any of that with a drone. You know what I mean? We have limited use for that kind of thing. And that goes for most kinds of electronics out here. The most high-tech thing that we have in the quarry right now is, well, it's me. I feel like something of a cyborg walking around right now with a camera and a micro cable running and a battery and, you know, chat on a phone strapped to my arm right here. Satellite internet, solar panel. Like, this is as technologically advanced as it gets on this crew. And I don't know, it's almost embarrassing, you know? And there you go, Death Star. I don't know about 2045, but yeah. What's funny is I'm not even particularly fond of electronics. I use a lot of them for work, for streaming, but it's not like I get excited about that in the same way that a lot of other people do. I've got friends and relatives who they always have to have the latest gadget, and they get really jazzed about this. You know, they have the most brand new phone as soon as it comes out. They'll pre-order this stuff. I I could care less, but not much less, to be honest. I kind of hate using a smartphone. I do spend a lot of time on the internet, but that's for work mostly. I'd much prefer to just be out here in the desert, immersing myself in nature if given the chance. So that's why I'm so happy to be out here. That makes sense? And MJD says, for drone shots, etc., have you considered inviting an IRL streamer? Nobody else is going to want to be out here sleeping in a tent in the middle of the Utah desert. As cool as it would be to have somebody like, I don't know, iShow Speed out here digging dinosaurs with us, I don't suspect he'd be interested in doing that, And Llama Monka says, do you have an iPad with all the dinosaurs in it? I don't have an iPad. I don't have much use for that kind of thing. I have a laptop. I don't know. I need something with a keyboard. Yeah. I have a tablet back in camp. It's a dry erase tablet for markers. You'll probably see it later on, next week maybe. That's what a tablet means to me. It's something used with markers or chalk. And Crimson says, one of my other regular streamers keeps talking about the idea of doing a camping IRL stream. That would be cool, Crimson. Yeah. I don't know. Are they chill? If you watch them, they probably are. Yeah, that would be neat to have somebody with a big audience on Twitch out here in the field. I'm not saying our audience isn't respectable. Of course, I appreciate each and every person who shows up to watch and chat and ask questions and enthuse. But, we're small potatoes compared to some of the larger channels on Twitch, for sure. Kennedy says, of all the inventions of the 20th century, dry erase boards are the most remarkable. Truly, Kennedy, yes. And imagine Kai Cenat in a paleontology dig. Which one is he? I don't think... Is he the one who was banned off of Twitch? Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah, Hassan, you should hit him up. That would be cool, Bozo, but I don't know if... I don't know. That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah. And... yeah. And Conical Bell says, I would love to be out there. It makes me sad that science careers were not especially mentioned in public schools in the last century of the last millennium. That's the thing about, I don't know. Science is really interesting in that it's an adventure. When you're a scientist, when you're doing science, at the best of times, it's thrilling. You're there working at the very frontiers of human understanding. You're there at the very border of knowledge, discovering new things, unlocking new mysteries. It's really exciting. And I don't feel like that idea gets communicated enough to young people, especially. That's part of why I'm out here doing what I do, is I want to show everyone what it's like to do things like fieldwork. And again, science is not just in the laboratory. It's not just, test tubes and white lab coats and beakers and stuff like that. Fieldwork is a very important part of science in disciplines like paleontology, geology, biology, geography. I want to show that side of science. And I want to help you feel like you're really there. I want you to see how interesting this is. I want you to value it. I don't feel like there's enough of that going on in today's world. I don't feel like wonder and majesty and adventure of science is being communicated to people well enough. And there's of course a lot of forces arrayed against that. There's a lot of people, especially the people running the federal government right now, in the United States, who they're actively hostile toward the very idea of science, the very idea of knowledge, of testing things to figure out whether or not they're true. There's a lot of people who are in positions of power who want you to just listen to what they say, regardless of whether or not it's true. They don't want you to think about that. I recoil at that thought. I don't know about you, but that disgusts me. That there are people who don't care about what's true. They just want to sell you something, or they want to pick your pocket. They want to have power over you. They want you to follow them and do their bidding. They want to persecute other people. They want to spew hatred. I feel like science is a bulwark against that. Science is all about testing ideas, about finding out what's really true using evidence. It's about discovering the nature of reality. Not to be too lofty about it, but you know what I mean. That's important. It's important to our survival and thriving as a species. It's important to help us preserve this world around us and make sure that we don't drive everything else into extinction and then ourselves, you know? That's why I do what I do. Not only do I find this incredibly interesting and fascinating, not only am I really passionate about the subject matter, I want to know everything that I can about these critters that were walking around during the Cretaceous period. I want to know everything I can about dinosaurs and the world that they inhabited, the other animals they shared this planet with. But I feel like that act of exploration and discovery, I feel like it can help explode things like prejudice and hatred. And the more curious and open-minded we are, the more willing we are to follow the evidence where it leads and try and discover what's true. I feel like the better it makes us as people. And I want to share that with everybody. You know, I feel like that makes the world a better place. So I know this has been a big soapbox, but that's a big part of why I do what I do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Pate B says the way Danny and you all are reaching out is very nurturing for people's curiosity. Chat is scrolling away from me. I think that will mean something in time. I hope so, Pate B. I hope so. Yeah. Like I said, as a kid, I didn't realize how exciting it could be, but the seeds for interest were definitely always there. There's nothing cooler than science, honestly. There's nothing cooler than exploring the world around us, making new discoveries, elucidating age-old mysteries, and uncovering new ones. I think it's intensely exciting. And sometimes it seems a little slow going. Sometimes it seems a little tedious at times. But it requires detailed, careful work. You got to make sure you're doing it right. But even in that, there is excitement, there is wonder. And I hope we get some of that idea across when we're doing these streams, you know? Yeah. Foggy Planet says, you are the new Bill Nye. I hope more people discover you. I appreciate that, Foggy Planet. That's high praise. I don't know if I could live up to that, but I appreciate the kind words. Shoot. Yeah. Comes through in your streams. Thank you, Flixter. Yeah. And Quixotic Odyssey says, well, you guys do science for the public, right? For universities and museums? Free knowledge? Exactly. Yeah. And, these streams are free to watch, too. I know there's ads that pop up. I got to be able to afford to do this kind of thing. I wish we could get rid of the ads entirely. Maybe someday we can, if we, rise up to that level where there's a ton of subscriptions and I can make a living without the ads. That's a goal. But, yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Golganak. Hey, I really appreciate that. Here, let's take another look around with the crew here, and maybe we'll ask, do brief little interviews, talk about how we got into science in the first place. Yeah, I know. For me, I was always really interested in dinosaurs, and I've been lucky enough to be able to turn that into a career, which has had some interesting twists and turns, and now I do science outreach full time. But I was always intensely interested in dinosaurs and other fossil critters. Now I get to do this for a living. We've got a lot of different paths into paleontology with a lot of different people. And, shoot, let's ask some people in the quarry, actually. Can I bug you guys for a second?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Michael, I'm going to ask everybody how you first got into paleontology. Like, what's your path into this field in the first place,
Howdy, yeah. So, it's hard to pinpoint one time.
Yeah.
I definitely, growing up, I was an outside kid.
Okay.
I grew up in middle of nowhere, Texas, most of my life.
Yeah.
And I definitely did a lot of running around in the woods looking for various different interesting things, drawing them, making maps of the very small bit of woods that we had by my house. And when I wasn't doing that, I was reading a lot.
Nice. Yeah.
And so between those two things, I definitely developed an interest in paleo pretty early. And my parents were very supportive of it, which was great. They, would take me to museums, and my dad had coworkers that lived in North Carolina, and we went with them hunting for shark teeth.
Oh, cool.
One time, which was great.
Yeah.
But I think when it actually became sort of viable as a career, when it wasn't just an interest, was as I approached undergrad. I definitely wanted to do paleontology, but I was very focused on dinosaurs. That was like all that I really cared about at that time.
I was the same way, yeah. We've got a word for that in the biz.
We do have a word for that in the biz. But when I got into undergrad, I realized, after doing some volunteer preparator work for UT Austin, as well as doing an initial very late high school project with Josh on multi-tuberculate mammals, and then I started to learn a ton about geology through my geology undergrad, and it sort of opened my world up immensely in terms of the things that I thought were fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
I did a lot of work with the evolution of bird vocalization in my undergrad research world. I got 2 papers published about that. And coming into PhD, my world, expanded, and now suddenly I was interested in a lot of really interesting broad questions that I wasn't before, and now suddenly this was looking more like a job, potentially.
Yeah, more like a career than just like an obsession with dinosaurs in particular.
Right, it was something that I was thinking about interesting questions that really mattered broad scale. And that's kind of where I've ended up now. Hopefully that leads further. But
it looks like it's going to. Yeah.
Now I'm 4 years deep into a PhD.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Yeah. Let's put Jake under the interrogator's light right now.
Sure. I don't have a lot to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're in your undergrad right now, so it's like it's interesting to get these different perspectives from people at different stages.
No, I'm one of those guys that is all about dinosaurs. So
I was too at the beginning, and still kind of am.
I recognize the importance of the other species, though. Some people are like, Ice Age, that's boring, or invertebrates, that's boring. I understand they're cool. I just prefer dinosaurs because I think they're cool.
And that's fair. Yeah,
that might change. But no, I've had a pretty troubled history with school just in general, and I don't want to get into all of that, but like I've always had an immense fascination with dinosaurs. Ever since I could walk and talk. I think I had Disney's Dinosaur from 2000 on loop for the first year of my life. My parents just made me watch that. And I think that brainwashed me into loving dinosaurs forever. But there are other things that are really cool. Like I saw Jurassic Park as a kid, and like I think all the different like shows and movies that came out in like the late '90s around dinosaurs was a big part of like influencing me into getting into it.
Nice. So like pop culture was a big part of your...
part of it, absolutely. And I kind of fell away from that like in middle school and high school because like that's nerdy. Like,
and that tends to be what happens with a lot of kids. It's like that sort of interest in dinosaurs or other critters like that, or really any kind of academically adjacent thing.
That natural curiosity gets beat out of you in the American school system.
Yeah. So it's cool that you've been able to rekindle that.
Yeah.
And now you're out here shooting.
But yeah, I know. Yeah. This is incredible. This is my first dig, and I've been wanting to do this since I was a child. Like, and I'm 27 now, so like I really put it off. I didn't want to, but
you made it. You're here.
I found an opportunity and I took it.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
All right, let's put the spotlight on Erica now, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about your background earlier, but maybe we could focus on kind of your path into science. You said you had a degree in fine art.
Yeah, so I had a really interesting childhood where I was super into dinosaurs when I was really little, like 2 and 3 years old, and I knew all the names.
Yeah.
And I would do the thing where I would just sit on my mother's, and I'm way old, so I'd sit on my mother's typewriter and just write the names out on the typewriter. I'd do like the black ribbon, and then I would do the red ribbon, and just write the names over and over again, long lists. And I was really good in school, but I didn't have any parental guidance or focus.
Right.
So all I knew is I wanted to be really good in school, so I did AP everything, advanced everything, and by the time I got to senior year, I was so burnt out, I'm like, I just want to draw. And I made the best of that. You know, I worked as a medical illustrator for 6 years for a burn hospital, which that'll open your eyes big time.
Holy cow.
Which really kindled a lot of fascination with like biomedical engineering. And also just medicine in general. But you know, life wants you to pay the bills. And I was living in Boston at the time, and I was like, I don't like it, it's cold, and I went down to Texas and started working for tech. But never really wandered far from just personal pursuits into, you know, like citizen science. And then when, you know, COVID happened and the Great Resignation took place, and I'm like, I don't want to go back to work. I was like, what should I do? I was like, I'm going to go and volunteer at the University of Texas Collections and see what they've got there for me. And it had computer stuff and prep stuff, and I could do some art. And in the meantime, I have self-educated. So I haven't gone to school, but there's a lot you can learn on your own by looking at YouTube, by reading scientific papers. And I am going to audit some classes at UT this year. So it's really, you do at some point kind of have to formalize if you really want to work on this stuff. You've got to know your anatomy, and you've got to know your processes and your geology. But yeah, I had a really roundabout, long way to here, but I'm 53. I got here too. So
you at home can do the same thing. Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Never too late to start.
Yeah, exactly. And there are opportunities all over the place for people who want to get involved with paleontology or with other kinds of science too. I can't necessarily speak to those other kinds of science because I'm not in them, but I know that in paleo, I mean, how many other fields can you think of that, like, someone with not a formal education, but just like on a volunteering basis, you can make important new discoveries and make important contributions to the field? How many amateur physicists are making groundbreaking discoveries? Like, not many, I don't think. But there are tons and tons of people who just do volunteer work in paleontology who are making really exciting new finds, who are discovering new species, new genera, who are uncovering incredible new fossils that help change the way that we think about the history of life on Earth. You can get involved with this too if you really want to. I guess that's kind of the theme of today's stream, isn't it? There's opportunities out there. And I mean, you see that here in the quarry. It's possible, you know? And there's many, many different ways to get involved too. It's not all field work, you know? We're out here in the field right now, but you could volunteer in a museum. You could help with data logging or collections management or all kinds of stuff like that. It doesn't require, baking your brains out in the desert under the hot sun. You could be in an air-conditioned room doing data entry and still contribute to fossil science in that way. You can contribute through art or through public education, being a museum docent, doing things like, welding for museum displays, creating the metal armatures that hold up fossil skeletons, things like that. There's so many different ways that you can contribute to fossil science if you're interested in this kind of thing. You don't have to be a spectator. That's my point. You don't have to be on the outside looking in. You can get in here, So if there's one idea that I really want you to take away from this stream, it's that, There are ways to get involved. You can be part of this world. You absolutely can. Let me scroll through chat and see if I've missed any questions or anything like that. Saurian Horror says, I want to be back out there so bad, but I had to leave for class. There will be other opportunities too. Yeah. I know that this is during the school year right now, but yeah. It's a really great subject if you can even join this world at a late age. Absolutely, Lama Manka, yeah. Oh, and let me go tell him right now, Saurian Horror. Let's go talk to Josh. We're gonna be wrapping up here in just a moment. We can see a sacred ritual in field paleontology. The ritual cleansing of the hands of plaster. Here, Josh, we got a message for you.
What's up?
I want to be back out there so bad, but I had to leave for class. Tell Dr. Lively that Connor says hi.
Hey, Connor.
And wants to be back out there. Connor, hope you're doing well. I didn't realize that was you at first. Shoot. But yeah, hope you're doing well, Connor. And yeah, hopefully next year we can have you back out here. But
he's coming back out in a couple weekends.
Oh, he is?
I think so.
Oh, heck yes.
All right.
Awesome. Cool. Anyway, how'd the jacketing go? Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah,
nice
pretty good.
And clean. Smooth and sleek. Look at that. Yeah. I changed the phrase a little bit.
That's good. That's good. That's the right move right there.
Yeah.
This is a family friendly.
Exactly. We try our best, Yeah. Yeah, look at those. Really nice. It's already hardening up. Lovely. Cool. We got to wrap up pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
4:30?
Yeah, we'll probably.
Nice.
Hands are dry. Probably gonna start packing up here.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and start wrapping up this broadcast too.
You want me to wash your hands off now?
Let's see.
It makes a difference.
Fanny Cranny Manny says, Danny, Indiana Jones as an archaeologist has an arch enemy. Do you have a nemesis? Well, archaeologists have arch enemies. Is that how it works? Do I have a paleo enemy as a paleontologist? I don't know. I don't think so. Does Indiana Jones have an arch enemy? I feel like his arch enemy is the Nazis, and I feel like that's my arch enemy too, so yeah. We seem to have a lot of them in the US right now, unfortunately. Yeah. There you go, Arle, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Belloc. He doesn't even make it out of the first movie. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. Sign me up to punch Nazis on top of tanks and stuff too. I'll do that. Hopefully we won't have to do that on this journey into town, but you never know. We got to wrap up this stream because even though it's a little early, we need to wrap up here a little early in order to get into town and grab some supplies and meet up with some allies. The Brits are going to be joining us. We're going to have dinner with them, and then they'll be out here tomorrow. Like I said, Dr. Susie Maidmont and Richard Butler are going to be out here from the UK. They're both well-known paleontologists, and they're bringing something like 20 undergraduate students with them tomorrow. I'm no guarantee that I'll be able to stream tomorrow. It might be all hands on deck. I might need to be running around teaching everybody how to dig, that kind of thing. We'll see whether or not I can broadcast, so stay tuned. Keep an eye out for those notifications tomorrow. We'll see if we go live or not. No promises, but know that we'll be here doing important work either way. With that said, let's see who else is here on Twitch, and let's wrap things up here. Don't go away just yet. We'll raid into somebody, maybe somebody doing some science. Let's see. Following, who else have we got? Let's see. I don't know if we're going to be able to raid into Rhacodactylus tomorrow. So let's do that now. He's playing something called Wild Arms, which sounds like some sort of emote, like the iOS hype one with the wavy arms. But let's go right into Rhacodactylus, because again, I'm not positive I'll be streaming tomorrow. We normally raid in on Wednesday afternoons, but he's doing his partner push. Let's go show him some love. And Rhaco_Dactylus. Superb. He is himself a scientist, a cognitive scientist. On Wednesdays, he talks about cognitive science, does science streams, but right now he's doing a video game stream. Imagine that, on Twitch of all places. Video games? Twitch is a platform for science. Anyway, we'll go see what Wild Arms is all about, and we'll go right in. Maybe we'll use some Wild Arms emotes like that iOS one, if you happen to be subscribed to iOS. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. I really appreciate your generosity, both with your time and your attention, and financial generosity too. Thank you for those subscriptions and gift subs and cheering with bits. Thank you to everybody who donated to the museum today. We appreciate that tremendously. And thank you to the moderators who were so generous, so dedicated. I couldn't do this without you, mods, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. With that said, we gotta pack things up here, so maybe I'll see it tomorrow, or maybe I won't. Stay tuned, and we'll figure it out. Bye-bye, everybody. Let's go check out Rhacodactylus. See ya.